What up, what up, what up, football fans all over the world? It is your boy, Mac the Giants fan, here with my guy, the super dope co-host, Adam Costas. You don't know what time it is. It's time for the real deal NFC East Round-Up. Punch that. What up, what up, what up? What is going on, everybody out there? Welcome to another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. I am Mac the Giants fan here with my guy, the super dope co-host, Adam Costas, man. How you feeling today, Adam?
Well, I'm always good when I'm on this show talking with you. So I'm glad we're back for another week, as always, and can't wait to get into it.
Well, let's get right on into it. We'll just take them in order as we always usually do. We'll start the one NFC's team playing in the 1 o'clock window on Sunday afternoon. That was the Philadelphia Eagles going out to Cincinnati, taking on the Bengals. Eagles got off to a really slow start in this one, but then we got to the second half of this football game and they put their foot on the gas and they never looked back. Man, this offense exploded in the second half of this football game. Jalen Hurts, I would say, had his best game of the season uh, of this year so far, and just everything was cooking, man. Everybody got a little bit, man. AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, uh, the damn, why am I forgetting his name? The other receiver, the fuck, you know who I'm talking about.
AJ
Anyway, their
Brown,
number two guy, not AJ Brown,
AJ,
the other
Devontae
Devontae
Smith,
Smith, Jeevers,
Devontae
Jeevers
Smith.
Creepers, Jeevers Creepers. What's wrong with me? How could I forget that guy's name? But anyway, yeah, the Eagles, man, ended up getting the W in Cincinnati, man, and keeping pace with the Washington Commanders in this division right now, man. What you think about it, Adam?
Well, I think they, corrected a lot of things on the during the bye week, and it's really starting to come to fruition. And what we thought about this team, having a solid offense and making a lot of plays is really, is he's really it's really changed, right? I think that's what happened. They needed that change, and he's been playing well. Saquon Barkley is Saquon Barkley. He's on pace for 1,700 yards, which is insane to think about when you do bring that up. But at the end of the day, I figured that their offense would be good. The one thing that will, like you mentioned, that's holding them back right now is the fact that they start off slow. If they could somehow score a little bit more in the first quarter or so of games, 3 points, 6 points here and there, just to add on to that. In the second half, after they're making their adjustments, it's going to be easier to beat teams. And, it's crazy to think about, but
If
they're
I'm
on
not
pace to
mistaken,
win,
the
and they're
Eagles are the only team in the NFL. They're the only team in the league right now that hasn't scored a point in the first half of this in the first quarter.
first
In the first
quarter.
quarter this season, I think they're the only team.
I think,
Yeah, that's kind of
yes,
crazy to
I
think
do
with that
believe that's
offense.
right.
But
And that's what I'm saying. If they can somehow get in there where they're just in there like swimwear, where they can actually make a move, this is where you can win more games because there's going to be teams like Detroit, like Minnesota that are going to jump out to early leads, and you don't want to wait till the second half to get going. You want to kind of open it up a little bit. So, for me, the Eagles, what I'm more impressed with is the defense. The defense has been playing pretty good football. I would say all season, but mostly these last few weeks when they've gotten the between the Giants and a few other games where they've kind of come together a little bit. And you're starting to see that defense. If it does start to come together, they're going to be a formidable foe. And they're right now nipping at the heels of Washington. They just got to keep playing well and make these adjustments. And Saquon Barkley on offense is, I think, the key to what was missing. I told this to a friend of mine, AK, you guys know him, Reality Check. we were having a conversation, and we were talking about backs and things like that. And I said, DeAndre Swift was a different back for you. Barkley is going to be the back that you can still stay in the shotgun and run your offense out of. Well, now they're starting to get under center a little bit more, which is going to open up things exponentially for Barkley and the Jalen Hurts. And I think Kellen Moore's influence is starting to grow here. The other thing I wanted to we spoke about was Nick Sirianni. I think Nick Sirianni has done an admirable job with what he's doing with this football team. I know a lot of people, or at least Eagle fans, as you talk to them, they're going to tell you, hey, we don't like this guy and blah, blah, blah. But to me, he's being a CEO, and he's trying to put his hand in where it needs to be, right? His player wants to break a record. Do you want to break a record? You want to let the young guys play. I would like to let the young guys play, and what I mean by that is he allows his coordinators and players, he's getting feedback. And then that's how he's kind of, organically running his football team. And I think that's what was needed, right? Kellen Moore doesn't need to have their hands held like Brian Desai last year, who was an offensive QB coach that wasn't really ready for the big stage of being an offensive coordinator right now, right? Unlike Kellen Moore, who had that option going forward in both Dallas and in LA. So he has more experience. With a guy like that, you can allow him to just run the offense the way he wants to. And as they're meshing, which is what I think they're starting to do, you're going to see a lot more of that growth. Defensively, Vic Fangio, you brought in a guy right now who was already on your team as a consultant, right, in the defensive realm. He's bringing in guys and playing them and running a decent scheme that helps his team out and really starting to get his players going. I think you're starting to see the fruits of that labor. Right now we're at week number 8, and they say that a new defense and a new offense takes about 8 weeks to start to click. 6 to 8 weeks. Well, guess what? We're at week 6 to 8, and they're starting to click. So I think you're going to start to see them get more and more momentum. Right now, the Eagles have a favorable schedule, and if they kind of play like this the rest of the way, it's going to be a dog fight down the stretch for Washington and Philly.
I mean, I hear you say, I hear a lot of what you're saying, and offensively, like I said, just to me, this team, when they need to put points on the board, this team has proven that they can absolutely do it. I mean, like you said, you see what they did in the second half of this football game. I think there are still some question marks on the defensive side of the football though with this team. I still see a team that can be had on that side of the ball when it gets down to the nitty gritty and it gets down into those tough games. You know what I mean? Like this is a Cincinnati team that's been very underwhelming this season. Let's face it, and they were without T. Higgins once again in this one. And I think even the addition of him in this game could have maybe impacted this game in a different way, so to speak. You know what I mean? With Joe Burrow would have had that extra weapon out there to utilize. So I just go ahead.
I see what you're saying on defense, and I've monitored them closely since you've spoke about them, and since I'm in unfortunately Eagle country, and the only thing that comes on is Eagle games. If I want to watch TV because I have to stream Giant games, I watch them a little bit. So I see what you're saying, but what I'm watching is the evolution of Queen Mitchell. Cooper DeJean playing pretty good right now. Now Ellie Ringo and Eli Ricks kind of filling in admirably, and Blankenship and I forget who their other safety is are playing admirable, right? N'Kobe Dean's having a breakout year. Zach Bond is a great free agent pickup that they made from New Orleans. Jalen Carter is having a solid year, a good campaign. He was worth the 9th overall pick. And then the Josh Sweat and those guys, right? I think Nolan Smith is a little better than Bryce Huff. So I see what you're saying, and I know that the defense can be had. Are they a dominant unit? Not by any stretch, but are they a capable unit that gets stops when they need to? Yes, they're capable of doing that. And they don't need to have the greatest defense if they're putting up 37 points, right? So they just need to have a good enough defense. And I know you're saying they can be had, and then maybe they will be. Maybe they will be when they play a team like Detroit, when they have all those weapons, and maybe that's when we'll see their exposure. But right now they're playing the Bengals, who are right now bereft of talent and are stumbling to get out of the gate. And then they have a couple other easier games. I mean, next week's game they play the Jaguars, and then they have the Cowboys. So they're pretty favorable with those teams, and their defense can match up well against teams like that. So for me, I look at their defense and I see a defense that's not great, like you say, but I also don't think it's like the worst in the league, right?
No, I mean, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, and I agree with what you said right there. How you said if your offense is putting up 37 points, you're right. Defense pretty much does just need to be good enough, which right now the Eagles defense does appear to maybe be good enough. But we'll see. I mean, this is going to be a dogfight, and it's like between these couple of teams in this division, and it's not the two teams we expected. You know what I mean? And that's a great segue into the 4 o'clock window on Sunday. How about that? 4 o'clock window on Sunday. Once again, only one NFC East team playing in the 4 o'clock window. The Washington Commanders hosting the Chicago Bears. The battle of the number 1 and number 2 overall pick. And guess who didn't win this battle? The number 1 overall pick fell a little short in this one. And Jaden Daniels continuing the brilliance that he's put on display this thus far in his rookie season in the NFL, man. I feel like they might as well just go ahead and hand this man Rookie of the Year trophy right now because it's going to take a monumental effort for anybody else to surpass him for that crown. What you got on Washington, man? I understand like real quick before you go. Just Washington to me. Anybody that had any questions about Washington? This team is for real. This team is legit. There ain't no more questions about this football team. They got their guy in there, and everybody's believing, and this is all working. It's all cooking, man. So Jaden Daniels is him. Yes, I'm an NFC East. I'm a New York Giant fan, but right now on this show, I'm an NFC East, content creator, and Jaden Daniels is him. I must say it. And that's just what it is. That is the clear cut difference with this Washington Commander team this season is that Jaden Daniels is now their leader, and he's got him off and running.
Well, I think the clear cut.
What you got, bro?
Like I think the clear cut winner here is their ownership group, because changing from Daniel Snyder to their ownership group led them in the direction of getting Adam Peters, who then got Dan Quinn, who then they drafted Jaden Daniels, right? So the tree has grown from the bottom up, which you want it to be, as in terms of the owner, or top down, however you want to look at it, right? And what he did was, and this impact was not expected like this, right? Because C.J. Stroud, Baker Mayfield, those type of renaissance seasons, you don't necessarily get them from a rookie, and we weren't expecting that. We expected them to be dynamic and have some energy, but he's doing what C.J. Stroud is doing in Houston. What C.J. Stroud did is they brought in a quarterback that elevated their entire team. Well, I mean, yeah, that's because you're a Giant fan. We're NFC East content creators. We can't just rest our hats on the Giants. We have to be objective football fans and give it to you how we see it. Anywho, when you draft a quarterback like that, your expectation levels are low. They were in rebuild mode, but they got a good leader in their coach. They got a good quarterback who also is a good leader, and they had a good leader on defense in Bobby Wagner who bought into the system. Here's a story I read about because I'm reading about the Commanders. I always study the opponent every week to get little nuggets and tidbits and little things that I can bring to the table in a discussion because I obviously know the pulse of the Giants. But I want to know what the other teams are thinking. And Frank Louisville, who's an outstanding player for that Commander team, who was buried and who did very well in Carolina, but wasn't getting the recognition that he deserved because he played in Carolina, is now getting that recognition. He said, I'm coming in early now. I'm coming in trying to beat Jaden Daniels here because he's changed everything. He's made it so I have to be early. Attention to details. We're rallying around him. Terry McLaurin has the biggest smile on his face because he has a quarterback that is getting him the ball and being more dynamic. This guy is also helping the run game, Brian. There's no coincidence that Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler are having good seasons. Not to mention their offensive line, which was maligned, is being coached very well. And we said this about Dan Quinn. Okay. We've said this about him. When you bring in good leadership like this, he's going to know how to run the defense. And that defense took a couple weeks to adjust, but they held the team in check. And they know how to play different styles of football. This is why the Washington Commanders are dangerous, because they're not just a high-scoring offense. They can beat you in the nitty-gritty like they did with the Bears in a defensive struggle. where they had to rely on their defense to get stops and make big moments and big plays, and it went back and forth like that the entire way. But they held their own and did their business, and here we are. And this type of winning that they're doing is the type of winning that leads you to championships. Are they going to the championship now? No. Could I see them placing Detroit in the championship game if they play like this? Of course they can be there. But my point is that when you have a team that can win on many different ways, not just beat you by the run game, but beat you with special teams, beat you with passing, beat you collectively in a close game, you're talking about a championship level kind of team. And even though their defense is not championship level, remember they gave away Chase Young and Montez Sweat, who was on the other side, who didn't have a great game either. When you do that, when you believe, you get things that happened on Sunday. On Sunday, they went downfield. Let's talk about the last drive for a second, okay? Caleb Williams goes down there and scores. You think the game was over, and this is what you do. Jaden Daniels orchestrated the offense, got them into the range of a Hail Mary, and then what did he do? He delivered on that Hail Mary, and that's why they call it a Hail Mary, because you throw the ball up there. But guess what? They practiced it. They were in great position. The ball went up in the air, and boom, it landed. Now, you could say it's a little luck. True, but Jaden Daniels got the ball down there. He did his job, and then his teammates executed on the other end on their job, and they won an epic game that will probably be their season. Like, what was the epic win of the season that propelled us on this deep run? This could be the game. And this is what I'm saying to you guys when I was banging the table for a quarterback. And we'll get to our team in a minute, right, when we get down that road. But when you have a guy who's so dynamic and everybody feeds off of, people don't believe in this thing called elevation or feeding. Look at the Washington Commanders. That's what elevation is. It doesn't always have to be where you are on the field. It could be just the fact that the defense now wants to play harder for you because they want the ball back. They want to score. They want to watch you out there do your magic. So they're going to try to play harder. They don't want to let you down. They don't want to be the unit that gives up the points because on their end, they don't want to make the mistakes, right? Because you're not making mistakes. You're cooking. They know you have a chance. So defenses do that. Go ask Michael Strahan when he had Eli Manning. They knew they had a chance every week. They know that they have a chance every week. So that's why they did it. And that's why I'm telling you guys, when you sit there and you look and you understand what a quarterback can do, right? A guy who understands and reads defenses, who uses virtual reality to enhance his football IQ and just overall playing the way he's playing, everybody does it. Everybody. And that same thing happened over in Houston, where the coach came out and said, CJ's elevated everybody. Everybody in the building's a new height. And that's what happens sometimes when you get a guy in here. And guess what? They're not talking championships, but you believe in that building. They're not talking championship publicly. You better believe in that building. They think they are legit. They think they're one of the best teams in the league. And, they have a schedule coming up. They play a lot of divisional games. I know people are talking about the game coming up being a trap game. Let me put it to you this way. This Commander team is not worried about trap games. Okay. They're worried about taking care of the opponent in front of them. Go listen to Dan Quinn. They're not even looking at the opponent right now. They're doing what they need to do on Wednesday. They're doing what they need to do on Thursday so that when they come to the game on Friday, they can come to the game on Sunday, they can just execute. They're going to obviously watch the opponent. They have done that. They're going to do their normal due diligence. But it's like the mindset is just getting better right now, right? And I just love what they're doing. I'm enjoying watching it from afar as an NFC East fan. You don't want to see your opponents get better, but as an NFL fan, I'm enjoying the hell out of this. And it really is. Max said it best. You might as well give him Rookie of the Year. Hell, I would dare say that he might be in the MVP race, and I've never seen a rookie be in the MVP race. But damn it, look what he's doing with that team. That team was 4-13 last year, and they already surpassed their win total by 2, and they're headed for more.
Leads the league in completion percentage. Right there, right now. Leads the league in completion percentage as a rookie.
I'm just saying.
He's just doing work.
And let me ask you this question.
He's doing work.
Do the Commanders, I mean, yes, they put up 40 points still with Mariota, but let's be honest. Do they have the same impact with Mariota that they do with Jaden Daniels?
Not a chance.
So then that means to me, Jaden Daniels should be in the MVP race because without him on that team, they're nothing. And that to me is what an MVP is. An MVP candidate, they say, is the most valuable player, right? Well, guess what? The most valuable player on their team right now and probably in the league for everybody. You can say Lamar Jackson, but, he has a better record right now than Lamar Jackson, even though he lost to Lamar. the record's better, right? I would put him in that conversation. I don't know if there's been a rookie in that conversation, but he's definitely going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. He probably will win Rookie of the Year. Like he might take home all the awards. It might just be Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, and then friggin' MVP. Because to me, it should just go to anybody. If he's deemed at the end of the year the most valuable player for his team and in the NFL, then you give it to him. Doesn't matter what his status is. So that's how I'm looking at it. If he continues to play at this level, he should be flirting with those categories. He'll definitely probably win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but at least MVP, he should be in. Like, you know how they call it the Heisman race? Well, guess what? He should be in the MVP race as a rookie.
I absolutely agree with all of that. All of that I agree with. Yeah, this Washington team came out, man, and this Chicago tried to steal it, man. They tried to steal it, but Jaden Daniels, man, goes out there calm, cool, and and gets the job done and delivers, man. Sure, it's a Hail Mary and it's some luck involved, but at the end of the day, when things is going your way, things is going your way. And that's the energy that Jaden Daniels has brought to this Washington Commanders football team. And it sucks that it happens to be a division rival, a team that you hate. But at the end of the day, as a football fan, like you said, man, it's just great to see. I mean, I love seeing this young man come in and just be able to just take the league by storm the way he has been. And this Washington Commanders team, they basically playing with house money, man. Just nobody expected them to
Yep.
be like this. I think people did kind of expect them to be, a team to keep an eye on, a little team that, I thought they were going to, be a team that might have got a little dangerous down the later in the season, down the stretch as the weeks went on, and they got a chance to really kind of grow and gel together. But this team came out the gates, man, and right now they are cooking, man. They are absolutely cooking. They are by far the best team in this division right now in the NFC East, and I know that nobody had them at the top of the standings in this division at right now, week 9, going into week 9 of this season. Nobody had the Washington Commanders in this position. I do want to take a minute right now. I want to say thank you to the 21 that's in the chat right now. I appreciate y'all coming through. Kenneth Perkins, man, I appreciate you. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets. Yo, it's Q2 cool. Appreciate y'all tapping in, man. But this right here, man, this Washington Commanders team, man, you know what? The hell with that, man. I know I'm a Giants fan, but this team is just, it's enjoyable, man. And I'm going to continue to just keep my eye on these guys, man, all season. Look, I'm not going to openly root for the Washington Commanders. I can never ever actually do that. But I'm kind of rooting for Jaden Daniels, man, just
Well,
on the
listen,
side, man. I can't help it. Just as a fan of the game, I gotta root for this kid and what he's doing, and it's been amazing.
and
Yeah,
listen, it's we're the NFC East Roundup, right? So the fact that we have teams that are exciting in the NFC East is something that this show should like, and like we told you, we're going to follow you all the way until it's done for these teams, and just to have teams able to be doing what they're doing is exciting to see. And you're happy for, if you have a Commander fan, you're happy for them, right? Because they got a team unlike us. But let me break you down some numbers for you that we need to look into for this team. Now, this Bears defense is a very good defense, but they gave up 481 yards of total offense to to the Commanders. They also gave up 313 yards passing, 168 yards rushing. Right now, the one thing that the Commanders may want to do is they may want to shore up the run game because they had 202 yards worth of offense in there. But that's what I'm talking about. You had Jaden Daniels throw for 326 yards and then rush for 50 yards, right? You had Austin Eckler rush for 50 yards. You had Brian Robinson, the leading rusher, running. So they spread it out in the run game, right? So we had Bobby Johnson go there. Everyone's like, oh, Bobby Johnson is a bad O-line coach. Well, guess what? The O-line is playing well. They only gave up 2 sacks in this game against a defense, a formidable defensive front. One of the ones we do believe is a good defense, like legit top 10 defense. They moved the ball up and down. Now, if they finished here, they finished there, this game could have been a blowout. But hey, they did what they need to do. On the other end, the defense did step up. While they did give up over 100 yards or 200 yards rushing, which I think was kind of their game plan to kind of let them rush. They didn't get much in the passing game. They gave up 307 total yards of offense. 307. That's right. 307 yards of total offense. That's a good defensive performance. Okay. giving up barely over 300 yards, and then your team going damn near 500 yards. That's what you call winning football. And the defense, while it's not the best, we talk about the Eagle defense not being good, and I think Mac does have a little bias because he hates the Eagles. So I think sometimes, when he talks about the Eagles, it's he tries to give them a little bit more of a stick, right? But if you want to talk about defense being a bit of a weakness, the Washington Commanders don't have the talent of, let's say, the Giants or the Cowboys or even the Eagles, yet they're the ones that are coming in playing hard, not missing their assignments, and overall looking pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't say they dominated the Bears, but let's be honest, they kept them in check. 307 yards in an NFL game and only giving up 15 points. That's a winning defensive effort right there. So kudos to their defense. The defense that doesn't have all the stars on it, they're just making plays. And like you said, it's enjoyable to watch a different team go about their business. A team that wasn't supposed to be anything. A team that was technically, you and I said we're going to be fighting with the Giants for third place. When we made this show
Exactly.
8 weeks ago or 10 weeks ago, when we did this in the summertime and we were doing our annual, what we were forecasting, what we thought would be in the division. Well, this is what we thought. We said, hey, the Commanders are going to be fighting for third place at least, right? And now everyone that heard that is now looking at us like, you idiots, you doubted us. I mean, of course, Washington fans weren't thinking that probably at the first. They're probably thinking, let's be able to beat the Giants. And here they are now with a chance to kind of cement themselves in the division. And if we go over their schedule, they just got some big games coming up. They're playing the Steelers. You have how many divisional opponents they have? They have 1, 2, 3, 4 divisional games coming up, maybe 5. I think there's a fifth one here. Let me just get my screen. No, I think there's one more. So they have at least 5 division games.
They played us.
Well, yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah,
they already played.
I mean, Commanders,
right? So
they've only played us. They haven't played.
So they have
or the Cowboys.
So they have the 2 Cowboy games are here. See, so 2 Cowboys, and then the 2 Eagle games. They need to split those games. Probably beat the Giants, and then beat the Saints, and beat the Falcons, and they could easily be the top seed in the division. They also have a game against the Titans, so they have a game against the Titans, the Giants, and the Saints. Right now, 3 teams that are, sub 500 teams that they need to beat. If they win, let's say they win those, let's check those 3 boxes off, right? That's 9 wins. And then you can split a game between the Eagles, that'll be 10, and then the Cowboys. I see at least 11 wins here on the second half of their schedule. I think they can easily get to 11, especially if they handle business against these crappier teams that will be sprinkled in there when they play. So they play the Giants, then they play the they play the Giants, they play the Steelers, they play the Eagles, they play the Cowboys, they play the Titans, Saints, Eagles, Falcons, and then the Commanders. So you're talking about, like I said, and the Falcon game it's a pretty big game as well. That could be determining seeding or at that point. You never know what that game could determine. But you got some big time opponents that they could beat in here. But you also got some games in here where they should be favored to win and expected to win those games. Now the expectation level changes. All right. I heard someone say the game trap game. It's not a trap game now. It's an expectation game. You're expected to beat the Giants coming up this week. You're expected to beat the Titans. You're expected now to beat the Saints. You can't come into those games and be dog shit. You got to, if you want to make us believers, beat some of those games, and then maybe you beat the Steelers, and then maybe you can beat the Falcons there. I know you're going to beat the Cowboys and the Eagles. I know you're going to beat at least them one game because I feel you match up well with them, at least the Cowboys. And the Eagles you might split. But the point is, win your division games, win the other crappy games in your schedule. We could be talking about the Commanders going from 4 wins to 11, and maybe more.
I mean, I think the sky's the limit with this Commander team. But let's shift gears a bit, move on to Sunday night football, man. NFC's played in every window this week. Kind of funny, right? 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, Sunday night, and then Monday night. Let's get to the Sunday night game. Dallas Cowboys going up to San Fran, man, taking on the 49ers, and Dallas Cowboys struggles continue, man. Here, this football. I mean, Micah Parsons still couldn't make it back into the lineup, and Yeah, this Dallas Cowboy team is absolutely reeling right now. Right now, they're the ones battling with the New York Giants for third place, as opposed to the Washington Commanders. So, what you got on this one, Adam?
Well, I was completely and utterly wrong. I thought the Cowboys would come out and have a better showing against the desperate 49er team. And it turns out the Cowboys are not, they're pretenders right now. And a lot of it has to do with the ownership not investing in the positions properly. You know, they sign their guys, which is fine, but then you don't have a running back. You know, you don't have another corner. You don't have any defensive ends. You've been decimated with injuries, right? And a lot of that falls on Jerry Jones. Now, I do believe they're going to end up with at least 9 wins. I think that's where their ceiling is right now. I think they're going to be easily beat teams like the Giants and teams like well, I would say teams like the Saints, but they already got railroaded by teams like the Saints. But another like booty ass team, if I think they play the Panthers this year too, so you know they have a chance for them to get a game. Why are we saying ifs and buts? Let's go just look at their schedule, right? I see their
Adam must be having technical difficulties. We seem to have lost him right quick, but yeah, this Dallas Cowboy team is definitely very underwhelming to say the least. Man, they are definitely been a disappointment this year. What you
sorry
go
about
ahead,
that.
Adam?
Sorry about that. I hit the wrong tab button because I was trying to look up the Cowboys schedule. But what I'm saying is the Cowboys have fallen from grace, and I don't know what they're going to do at the end of the year because part of it's on Jerry Jones for not getting. I mean, why you didn't start Dalvin Cook before this game is beyond me. And you know they couldn't beat up 49ers team is really telling. I know that I thought Mike Zimmer would have put them over the top as a defensive coordinator. He has failed them miserably, and it's been a tough game for them. I mean, they only lost by a touchdown in this game, but Dak Prescott was not the Dak Prescott that I thought he was going to be. I mean, he has 2 interceptions. You know, while he threw for 243 yards, there were some bad interceptions. Zeke Elliott, 10 carries, 34 yards. That can't win you games. Okay, that 34 yards is not going to win you any football games. Okay, it's just not. And I know that offensively they did some stuff, but they basically let the 49ers run all over them with some random running backs, right? They rushed for 223 yards. Okay, 223 yards. They rushed the Cowboys themselves for 56 yards. Okay, the time of possession. I mean, basically the game is even. They both had 18 and 19 first downs. Third down efficiency, Cowboys need to get off the field 50% for the 49ers, like under that 4 of 12 for the Cowboys. You know, total plays, they were sacks, 2 sacks allowed. They both punted 4 times. Penalty yards, they actually kept them down. But those 2 key interceptions and that were drive killers. And who knows if he doesn't throw those interceptions, we could be talking about a different game here. They got to lick their wounds, and come back. I mean, they have a game this week against the Falcons. Good luck with that. That's another heavy run team. If they don't figure out, they're getting Deron Bland back, so that's good. Maybe that'll help them out a little bit in the passing game. But they need to shore up this run game if they want to win some games here. If you look at their schedule, they have the Falcons, they have the Eagles. They play the Falcons. They play the Falcons, the Eagles. They have the Texans, right? They have the Commanders. They have the Giants. They have the Bengals. They have the Panthers. So if you look at it right now, this team is, maybe I should take away 9 wins. Maybe they're going to have 8 wins on the schedule, right? Because Tampa Bay, while they're injured, it's going to be a tough game. Panthers is another win they'll probably get. So that's 1. They'll probably beat the Giants. So that's 2. We're talking about 5 wins. Maybe they beat the Commanders 6 once, and then maybe Philadelphia. I doubt it. So let's just say, they beat the Giants twice and they beat the Commanders once. So that's another 6 wins. And then I don't know where their wins are coming from because they play the Texans, who are pretty good. They play the Commanders and the Eagles, who are pretty good. And then they have a game sprinkled in there with the Bengals. So and the Falcons as well. They play the Falcons this week. So these are big games that the Cowboys aren't necessarily dead in the water. But again, you've got to find a way to win these close games. The 49ers, you probably should have won. You shouldn't have lost 24-30, but let's be honest, that game is not as close as it looks. And they got some trouble. So let's see if they can bounce back. I don't know if it starts this week. We'll find. We'll see.
It's disappointing for the Cowboys, if you ask me. I mean, this 49er team was a hobbled 49er team. I mean, I know they got Debo Samuels back into the lineup, and obviously they had George Kittle out there as well, but they've still had some key injuries all over there's this team, and this was a team that right now has been kind of reeling themselves. They've been a little disappointing. Both of these teams have been disappointing this season so far. Honestly, both are playing well below expectations. And this 49er, this was the kind of game the Cowboys really needed to be able to go in there and get the job done. Uh, Coming off of their bye week, as a matter of fact, wasn't it? They were coming off their bye week, if I'm not mistaken, too. Like, so on top of that, just you had the extra time to get ready for this team, and just to go out there and it wasn't like all bad. In the first half, you kind of had a little bit of momentum in the first half of the game, but then just allow that third quarter to happen and allow your defense to just get absolutely destroyed in the third quarter, giving up 21 points in that quarter to this 49er offense. It's just not going to be good enough for the Dallas Cowboys, and especially with the way the Washington Commanders are playing right now in this division, and the Philadelphia Eagles starting to look like they're putting things together as well. I just don't see. I mean, yeah, you'll be better than the Giants, but that's not saying a whole lot because the Giants are bottom feeders of the league. It's not even just talking about the NFCs. We're talking about the entire league. We're talking about how bad the Giants are right now. So yeah, Dallas Cowboys need to figure something out. They need to figure something out quick if they want anybody to take them seriously. Because the way things are shaping up right now, like we've already mentioned in a couple past shows. They literally could only be the division winner coming out of the division this year. There may not be a wild card coming out of here, man.
Yeah,
Giants
well,
better get right. You see what those teams in the NFC North are doing. I mean,
and the West.
those teams right now are balling. Every team in that division has a winning record, so
Well,
it might take winning a division to represent for the NFC East in the postseason this year.
well, let's just put it this way: the more losses that pile up, the more their playoff hopes and wild card hopes go up in smoke. Because, like you said, there are teams. We're not even talking about the West, who, by the way, most of their teams are 500 or just slightly under, right? So you got the Rams who might be surging. You have the 49ers who are clinging to dear life, and now you have the Cardinals who are 4-4 themselves. Not to mention the NFC South. You still have the Buccaneers and the Falcons, and then you have the whole entire NFC North, like you just mentioned. That at least three teams are probably coming out of the North. Green Bay looks good, Minnesota looks good, and Detroit looks good. And I'm not saying that the Bears don't. So I mean, I don't think any Bear fans are listening, but it's not that the Bears don't look good. If I had to push somebody out and push somebody else in, that's probably the
Yeah, I
team I'm
agree.
pushing out. Out right now. If you were to start the playoffs, right? So even though the Eagles would be that team that would be in there right now. So the Cowboys, maybe they need this. Maybe they need to, have a bad season, probably fire McCarthy, bring in a new coaching staff, maybe Mike Vrabel type guy. And, sometimes, remember the Cowboys, when they lost in 2020, they got Micah Parsons. And then for the last 3 years, they've been pretty good up until now, right? They could get another blue chip player like that and build their roster and things like that. Get maybe their best running back out of Boise State in the draft, right? So, this is maybe what they need. I don't think they're going to be. I think at max they win 9 games. I think that at worst they probably are 7-10. In there. I mean, division games are always funky with a team like the Cowboys, especially when you're bringing back Deron Bland. We'll see. I don't know. They've had their bye week. They came out of their bye week against the 49ers, and I thought they would have had a better showing, and they did not. Again, like you said. So I'm concerned if I'm a Cowboy fan that we're not. It's going to be another missed opportunity for this team, especially because the division is not that strong. Well, it's strong, but not every team is strong. You had a chance to win it, and you're floundering right now. If you don't get blown out by the Saints or by the Ravens or let's say you win that Ravens game in that furious comeback, we're talking a different light. But now that you're 3-4, we have to look at the realistic picture. And I know somebody said this in a space I was in. Like, oh, teams don't look at forecast wins and things like that. They do. They look at the schedule and they say, what are we going to do? How are we going to get in this? What is our path to the playoffs? I'm not saying they're game planning for those teams, but if you're telling me they're not in that building trying to figure out how to beat the Falcons, and then what is our best route to the playoffs. Right now, you're in third place in the division. That means you got to look around the league and the landscape and say, well, what do we got to do? Because right now, Arizona Cardinals and the 49ers, right, they're better than you right now. They have the head-to-head tiebreaker, so they're going into the playoffs, and you're not at this moment. If they were to do those teams getting in, so they need to figure out. They need to do some self-reflecting, and they need to figure it out fast because their season is fleeting. And hey, Max said it best. Who thought the Cowboys and Giants would be fighting for the last spots in the division? These two guys did not. That's for sure.
Absolutely not. But now I guess it's time to move on to Monday night, man. And
Do we have to?
yeah, we know what happened Monday night. Yeah, there was a game on Monday night. The Giants and the Steelers, and they traded field goals for in the first half. Going to the locker room 9-9, and then second half kind of happened, and the Giants kind of let things, they let things, slip away the way they often
Normally do.
do. It's like Murphy's Law. Like Murphy's Law, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong most of the time for the New York Giants, man. And it did it once again in this game in several different ways. Even beyond just the win and the loss. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'll let you go ahead and touch on some things first, Adam, and then I'll say
It's
my
funny.
piece.
You said Murphy's Law. Well, we should start to coin Murphy's Law as Giants Law because and we change up instead of what will go wrong must go wrong. We can go what we find new ways to lose because that's how that's Giants Law. Finding a new way to lose, finding a different form of losing. See, even when the
What up,
team
Wells?
even when the team somehow plays hard against a team that's better than them, they still find ways to lose, right? And people don't want to, you nitpick Daniel threw the ball downfield, and you throw that ball and you don't make it a rope, and you do a little lob session. A guy who runs a 4-3 who beat his man off the line. You're talking about a 60-yard touchdown. We're talking about slight things in this game would make this game legendary for Daniel. It would have been one of the best games that he played, and we would have been talking about, wow, what a game that he played on Monday night. I mean, I probably would still been a hater, but that's just me. But the narrative would be slightly different than it is right now. But no, what's the narrative? Same old Daniel Jones. Now, did he play poorly? He played all right. He played like a backup quarterback would play. That's what you look at, right? You look at the guy on the other side, Russell Wilson, like the dude still's got juice left in that tank, and he moved that team, and they were efficient. Everyone talks about 9-9. This game could have easily been 17-3 because of how they were doing. Remember, they got a penalty called back. They had a miscommunication on one penalty, one pass, and then George Pickens had an incredible catch. If he puts it, normally guys put their feet down in that, and that's a touchdown. Somehow he couldn't get a second foot down. So those are three possessions right there. If they turn slightly by an inch here, an inch there, we're talking about a different ball game. But eventually the cream rises to the top. And I want to get into a few things. One, the Darius Slayton throw down the field. If Daniel Jones puts a little bit more arc on that ball, that's a touchdown. These things you have to do. Another thing that was noticed in this game was Troy Aikman, who I don't always, I'm not always a huge fan of, but he was doing his great analysis job where he's like, Daniel Jones doesn't throw with anticipation. He stands there and waits for the guy to be open. And so this is a problem when you get dynamic plays. Then when you throw the ball to Darius Slayton, you don't throw it on the mark. You make him jump for it, and he has to make an acrobatic catch and then get drilled by the DB who dislodges the ball. So now you would add a big play that if you had anticipated it, because a normal person who looks at the route understands route concepts and route combinations. He obviously didn't. He waited, said, I'm going to go to Darius Slayton, but instead of anticipatorily throwing the ball and giving your guy a chance to make the throw, to make a move, you throw it high and late. And he's always like that. Even with a Malik Neighbors comeback route. When Malik Neighbors is running that comeback, Malik Neighbors is supposed to drag across the field. If you hit him in stride, Malik Neighbors is probably still running. Instead, what happens? You throw it, he has to sit down, he drops the ball. He should have caught it, but he shouldn't have to stop and slow down. A delay of game. You have a delay of game penalty. What are we doing here? All right, you're looking at the play clock. The play clock is staring you in the friggin' face, and you miss it. Right? I think they had 2 delay of game penalties, if I'm not mistaken. One in the first quarter and one later on in the drive, where even Troy Aikman was like, you gotta You got to get this ball, you got to get this off quicker and stuff. And then the last thing I'll say is the strip sack, right? And Daniel Jones has normal 2 turnovers, strip sack and interception. We'll get to the interception in a second. The strip sack, that was a play that a normal quarterback that's a starter understands. Case in point, Eli Manning on the Manning cast, when they were watching that play, said, I think Daniel should move the tight end over to help out with his tackle for J.J. Watt. And then as the play is going on, he's like, I guess he's not going to move the tight end over. And then boom, you have the strip sack. Now, what happened at the end of the game? They're like, well, Daniel should have moved the tight end over, and he feels really bad about it. That's not a good enough answer. He should know that. And you know what Daniel's answer was? I was too busy worried about the coverage. No, motherfucker, you need to be worried about that first ballot Hall of Famer that's over there that could wreck a damn football game. That's what you need to worry about. And you were rushing to the line, trying to get it done, trying to be a hero because you were pressing for points at that point in the game, right? Because you just had the big Tracy touchdown. You're getting back in the game, and you fucking pressed. And that is the problem that I have with you. You're worried about the secondary and not the guy on the end of the line. What you should have been worried about is it's a 2-step process. I moved my tight end over because now I know that I gave help a chip block to TJ Watt. Then you worry about the defense, who's probably going to switch it up anyway. So it doesn't even matter what look they're giving you now. It's about the post-snap look that's more important. So you fucked up on 3 phases of it. You fucked up pre-snap because you didn't move the tight end over, trying to focus on the offense, the defense. The defense wasn't probably even set. They're waiting for you to get your ducks in a row. And then finally, you don't do anything pre-snap and you fumble the ball. You have no pocket presence to know that TJ Watt is going there. You don't throw the ball away. You don't hold the ball for a sack when you're in field goal range. No, you stand there and what happens? Strip sack. Boom. And I'm sure there's going to be more strip sacks coming down the pipe as we play better defenses and have more and more chances to beat our guards and our tackles. Okay. And the last play of the game, again, they gave you time. They gave you time with a fumble or whatever it was that they gave you a punt. You're driving downfield. You're inside plus territory. They do a little rush, and instead of being set and throwing the feet or throwing the ball low in the dirt, you throw the ball high, which to Devin Singletary is not trying to get killed, and he puts his hands up knowing that he's going to take a body blow to save you. Instead, it bounces off his hands, and in the DB makes an incredible interception, game, set, and match. So everything there, you know what Eli Manning would have done in this situation? He would have added to his already growing Hall of Fame legacy because he would have moved the team downfield and he would have scored. Anybody remember Larry Donnell in the back of the end zone against the 49ers back in the day?
I was there that night.
In the back of the end zone when they moved the ball from their 10-yard line all the way down
in that
the
end
field.
zone too.
Right, and they made that play. Great game. Great. I'm glad you were at it. It was a fantastic finish. But that's the type of thing that we're talking about here. This is why where we talk about nitpicking a game, right, and nitpicking things, this is what you have. Eli Manning could have thrown 2 interceptions in that game, but you give him the ball with a chance to go up and win the game or get us down to 2 points, guess what? He's going to deliver the goods. Because he didn't play great in that 49er game, but when the game was on the line, guess who showed up? Guess who showed up? And I hate to compare him to Eli Manning, but to use the example so you can kind of get an idea, that's what you get. Instead, with Daniel Jones, I'm saying, don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up. Guess what? You fucked it up. I should have known you were going to fuck it up because that's what you do, and that's what you've done for 6 years. For 6 fucking years. And you did it against the Cowboys. You couldn't step up to the plate. You couldn't do it against the lowly-ass Bengals when you had a chance. The one game you did, you had 13 days to prepare for the fucking Seahawks, and that's what you did. And now you're showing emotion, and you and your coach are now fighting. It's over for you, Daniel Jones. And this is what I'm telling people about this game, and this is what I've been telling you guys for 6 years. Money players make money moves at money times. He didn't do that. He could have changed. I'm telling you right now, he beats Pittsburgh on Monday night, a 5-2 team that goes to 5-3. I'm telling you, not me, but the narrative changes around not only the season, but Daniel Jones. Instead, it's 2-6, and we need to get rid of everybody, and that's it. And you're right. You're right, no Mets. That's an error that a 6-year quarterback should not have made, an error like that. That's a line error. We talk about this all the time. Me and Mac have this discussion every week. Does he know how to adjust the play? Well, guess what? It's one thing to adjust the play, but it's another thing to not even know your lineup formation. If that's what is called for in there, and your coach is saying it, and you're saying it after the fact, well, then we need to get a new quarterback because I need you to be in the moment. I don't need you to tell me after the fact. It's like when the NFL gives you that fucking letter that's, oh well, it shouldn't have been a penalty. Well, guess what? It still was a fucking penalty. You know what I mean? Oh, it shouldn't have been called. Well, guess what? It was, and I lost the game. That was a big momentum swing in the game and a turning point because they just turned the ball over. You got the ball in the plus territory, and they got the ball and punted it back to you and wasted more time on the clock. I'm done, Mac. You can go.
I mean, Daniel Jones, you just you're a nice guy. That's the problem. You're too fucking nice, man. I mean, I think you got some false sense of security that Jermaine Illuminor could actually hold up against T.J. Watt 1-on-1, like out there in space. I just don't know why you would have such a false sense of security in that situation. And in this left tackle situation with this football team, it's atrocious. This is inexcusable, as a matter of fact, to not have any kind of an answer behind Andrew Thomas better than what we've seen the last
Not
2
even
weeks.
Evan
First you throw
Neal.
Joshua Azudu out there. And then you throw this other fucking guy who I don't even
Chris
remember what his
Hubbard.
name is, and it's not worth me remembering. Not worth me remembering what his fucking name. Oh, him, yeah, because that's how poorly he played on that left side. I mean, for what it was worth, Daniel Jones was under duress all night, pressure coming from that blind side constantly because this dude couldn't fucking block anything over there. I have no idea how he was the starting left tackle on Monday Night Football for the New York Giants on
Because our
Monday
coaching
night.
staff is stupid.
But that's what I want to talk about. Speaking of stupid coaching staffs, okay, is it safe to say we have this Giants team has a new RB1? But here's the problem: is that we wait to this point to realize, okay, this guy is a little better than Devin Singletary. This guy gives us a little bit more electricity in that role than Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary needs to be more of the Robin and let this guy be more of the Batman. And why does it take this long to discover this when during the off season, through the whole process, I think it was pretty clear that people were like, yeah, this Tyrone Tracy kid, something about this guy. He's got something, you know what I mean? So why does that register to everybody else but the powers that be? And then, like, some of these games that we lost, maybe if Tyrone Tracy had a bigger role in some of these games, who knows? That maybe that could have changed the way some of these games went earlier, earlier along. I mean, we only really truly got dominated 2 times this season. Out of the 6 losses, only 2 of them were like, convincing, dominating. Like we weren't even in those games. I mean, the Eagles and Vikings, they just wiped the floor with us. But all the other 4 losses that the Giants had were all very winnable football games. Games that they very well could have and should have won, to be quite frank. And it's just what's the problem with this football? Everything with this football team, it bothers me. It bothers me because just poor decision after poor decision gets made continuously. Like you said, Daniel Jones, you do all the right things for a few plays here, and then you get down here late in the game, and then now you throw an interception. Like, dude, come on. I mean, this team, you had a puncher's chance. You had a chance to, like you said, Adam, have your moment on prime time against a good Pittsburgh Steelers team. And you just squander the opportunity like you always do. It's just at this point, it's a repetitive thing, man. And I'm just tired. I'm tired of watching this movie. Like you watch what Washington is doing. You watch what even Chicago is doing. Hell, you watch what the Denver Broncos are doing with Bo Nix down there. And I mean, it's absolutely out of control that all 3 of these rookie quarterbacks right now are starting for their football team. They all have winning records. They're all playing better than a 6-year veteran, Daniel Jones. I mean, riddle me this. I can't figure it out. Like this I can't. What more is there? There's nothing more to be seen with this guy. I mean, he's a hell of a guy. He's a tough motherfucker. He takes a beating. He keeps getting back up. Whatever. Okay, that's all well and good. That ain't winning football games, though. It's not winning football games. So it just to me all that's irrelevant when you're still not going out there and winning. You're not getting the
Right.
job done, and it is the little things. And at this point, with you being a 6-year guy, you have to look at all the little things like that. Like you said, that deep ball to Darius Slayton, get a little more air underneath that thing. It's a fucking house call. That's what the great quarterbacks do. They get it there where they need it to be, and the plays get made.
Look at
With,
Russell
with,
Wilson
with
on the other
this
side.
team, everything is just exactly. I mean, look what the game, what you call it, had. Pickens was having, man. Pickens was
Yes.
out there just destroying this defense. And the Tay Banks situation, the saga continues, I guess, with Tay Banks as he got benched, I guess, pretty much the entire fourth quarter of this football game on Monday
For
night.
nothing. For
What
nothing.
what's going on inside this kid's mind? Because I don't know. I mean, what they apparently something. I would think something must have happened on the sideline because I don't think his play was so overly poorly on the field that he needed to get benched. You know what I mean? So I don't know
Well,
what might have happened on the sideline. I don't know what's going on. What
let's
you got?
let's address this because what you're telling me is we have a lack of leadership. That's what the fuck we have. We have a lack of leadership. See, what a good leader, what Mike Tomlin would have done in the situation of Deontay Banks, not start the guy from jump, okay? Not getting his feelings and be passive aggressive and have the defensive captain yell at him for a mistake he made and then bench him. That's what we lack right now. We lack leadership. Okay. One. Two, here's what doesn't make sense to me. Okay. You bench players for their play. You've already pulled Daniel once. You don't even let Evan Neal touch the field. You bench Deontay Banks, but guys like Daniel Jones get their job back next week. Oh, well, so what kind of discipline are you sending by benching guys and then saying they're coming back the next week and blah, blah, blah? Like, if you don't want them to play, you walk into that room and you go up on film and you tell the guys, any of you motherfuckers play like this, you'll be unemployed. That's it. This is a privilege, not a right to play in the NFL. I'm your boss. I don't give a fuck if you get paid more than me. I don't give a fuck if you get paid less than me. Won't be tolerated. But instead, what do? He gets hurdled by Najee Harris. He knocks George Pickens out of the game, and you're getting flabbergasted by him. Like, oh, we got to get him off the field. It was you should have made the move last week. You didn't, and now it comes back to roost. But then you don't do things and pull guys in your on your own team. Like this whole team lacks a good, true direction. And that's what you're seeing. You got a guy in the media in Brian Dable who's throwing his quarterback under the bus, who now is calling out players, and doing all this dumb shit, making dumb decisions, right? You asked the question, why couldn't they find Tracy as a guy? That's my question. Why are we still leaving bad players on the field because we have some vendetta against it, right? I think Nomax asked, why is Neal not playing? I'll tell you why Neal's not playing. Because both Dayball and Evan and Joe Shane have a vendetta on the way he had held his practice. So they're being fucking unprofessional by letting their feelings and emotion get involved. All right? That's what the problem is. And when you let your emotions get involved in this game and make decisions that are not rational, same thing with Saquon Barkley. We didn't sign him because we didn't think anybody was going to get any money, and I was mad because he balked at my first deal. You let Julian Love walk for the same fucking reason, right? And so now I'm supposed to believe in this leadership. I heard the other day that they love Darius Slayton and they love Azeez Ojulari. No, that's not the time to love them. The time to love them was at the beginning of the year where you should have signed them to extensions. Guess what? Now, Azeez Ojulari, who's on a tear right now, who's absolutely balling, which I said that he would be, he's going to get 2 more sacks. Guess what? He's probably going to get another sack or 2 against Commanders and maybe a sack or 2 in the Panthersville. He's going to have double-digit sacks. You think that guy is going to come back on a hometown discount knowing that he has Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau in his fucking wheelhouse? You just paid Brian Burns $100 million. You think Kayvon Thibodeau is going to be like, well, I was a 5th overall pick. I need my $100 million. What do you think Azeez Ojulari is going to do? Oh, hey guys, I'm gonna take my $10 million. No, he's going to be like, I want to get fucking paid. That's what he's going to say. And then with Darius Slayton, what are you going to do? You should have extended him. If you don't trade these guys at the deadline, I'm going to have to call for your job. And that's what I'm going to be doing if those guys aren't traded, because there's teams that need a fucking pass rusher, right? Because this is what I don't want to see. I don't want you to see to keep them because, we like Azeez Ojulari, he's a hard worker, blah, 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 and Darius Slayton, blah, blah, blah. And then they walk in free agency next year, right? Because you don't want to pay them and open the purse strings. When meanwhile, if you look at it, right? If you look at it, someone made an article today. I think it was Ryan Dunleavy, who goes, maybe the Giants should trade for late round picks because they found Tyrone Tracy and Darius Slayton in the later rounds. And I'm like, maybe they should do that, and maybe do that so they can trade up to get a quarterback. Maybe, like, what are we doing? You need to have foresight. The problem with the Giants and their coach and their fucking quarterback and their fucking GM is they're all reactionary to what's happening in front of them. They have no foresight, i.e. Daniel Jones, to understand what the fuck's going on in the field, i.e. Brian Dable to understand that Tyrone Tracy is better than Devin Singletary, and i.e. fucking Joe Shane for not putting anybody good in the quarterback room when you had a chance to do it, or even, being able to see that maybe we could possibly get some trade assets to Darius Slayton. That is what I'm talking about. No, I know Gettleman found Slayton. What I'm saying is he was a 5th round pick. That's what I was equating it to. Okay, he wasn't saying that Joe Shane made those picks. He was saying, look at what they found in the 5th round. That's what the pick is, right? And my point is that if this team ends up 4-13, okay, because I think that's where they're headed, is 4-13, they need to be fired. Okay, they need to be fired. They probably won't. John Mara is not that guy. He's already given them a stay of execution, which most people say is a death sentence in the world of sports, because 2 things are happening. You know what's funny? Is 2 things are happening. One, they're giving a stay of execution to the DB and the GM and coach, whether you like it or not. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but they're also doing the same thing with Daniel Jones. What team in the NFL gets asked every week, outside of a booty ass squad like maybe the Browns, who your starting quarterback is? Is Daniel starting this week? They even know that he's playing badly and that he should be benched, because they know the injury clause is there. They don't have the foresight. They're too busy worried about being right instead of ripping the Band-Aid off. What I thought I would see on Sunday, and I spoke to somebody about this on the night before the game instead, I thought the Giants would play a little looser because the coach would have got the okay from the owner that he's okay to stay. And what we got was the same fucking result. And you can't be scared. I don't need Joe Shane to not do his job because he's worried about getting fired. I need you to do your job. Go make these trades. The Kansas City Chiefs need a fucking pass rusher. Like the Detroit Lions need a pass rusher. Fuck, the Eagles could use Darius Slayton right now. There's a lot of the fucking Buccaneers have no receivers except fucking AARP Sterling Shepard. You're telling me you can't get Darius Slayton over there for a pick back there? Like, this is what we're talking about. And I agree with YT Rennie. Thanks for joining us. You're new to the show. Thanks for joining us. Like and subscribe, because we come with that fire content. We don't have any business winning games. Well, guess what? John Mara's a bitch, and you know what he's gonna do? I don't want to look like an idiot. So don't trade all your players. You need to do your job. You're 2-6. The probability of you making the playoffs is about the same as me winning the lottery. 0. Okay, 0, maybe 1% at that. Right, and I haven't even bought a lottery ticket. That's why my things are 1%. It probably goes up to 5%.
Pretty much at this point need to run the table. They would need to run the table at this point, basically.
Right.
They would need to run the table and still need probably some help. Honestly, at this point,
there's 9 games left. You would need to go 8-1 at least. 8-1 at least to be even in the playoffs. Right? And I don't need you to win games to aesthetically please. I need you to get down there to get me a fucking quarterback, because I went over the options with a lot of people in Twitter spaces. You're not getting Kirk Cousins. You're not getting Matthew Stafford. You're not going to get Sam Darnold if he plays well. So you're left with booty-ass options that are going to be there. And everyone's like, well, you need to draft, bring in a veteran. Well, guess what? You need to draft a go. I don't care. Nussmeier is good. Cam Ward is good. Everybody's got a problem with comparing them to last year's draft. You don't do that. You don't compare fucking draft classes to previous draft classes. You just get them now. Where are they at? And yeah, will there be a quarterback overdrafted? Yeah, but you know who I want? I'm on the Nuss bus. Because that guy can play in the fucking NFL. Okay? I know it. I feel it. Go get that guy.
Let me throw a hypothetical out there at you.
Go ahead.
Let me throw a hypothetical out there, because I don't know why it just popped in my head. Okay, let's say Sam Darnold continues to play at the very, very high level he's playing at right now, where he's definitely kind of in the MVP conversation his damn self. If he continues that all through the season, the Vikings say, "Oh, guess we might have our guy here right now after all," on Sam Darnold, and decide, because he's still not an old man. He ain't no ancient old man. He's still got some years left. They decided to go throw a little money at Sam Darnold and then maybe dangle J.J. McCarthy out there.
Well, I would give up a first round pick for him if I needed to, because essentially what you would be doing is saying my first round pick is well, technically, J.J. McCarthy in this draft class would probably be a first round pick. So I'd say I give you my first round pick, and that's probably all I would give you. And say, here, I'm giving you this first round pick. Give me J.J. McCarthy or a second rounder that can escalate into a first rounder with whatever incentives you want, and I would do that. What I don't think they're going to do is I don't think they're going to do that. I think Sam Darnold's going to be like, I know you got J.J. behind me, and I'm going to go get paid. There's the Rams are out there. There's a lot of other teams where he can come back and be a starter. And New York Giant fans, don't even think about Sam Darnold coming here. He's not going to want to come here and play with this booty ass team. But your hypothetical, I could see happening. Like I said to somebody someday like this: if the Giants are going to go for a veteran quarterback or a guy with experience, give me a young guy that can grow. Like if you can somehow pry Malik Willis off the Green Bay Packers, or even see if they inquire about Anthony Richardson with the Colts and say, maybe he'll be here. Like I know people are talking about, if you're going to draft a quarterback anyways, you're going to keep these guys here. Well, get a guy that's young and got some upside. Sam Darnold will be perfect. J.J. McCarthy would be perfect. Hendon Hooker, a guy like that, could be an option that you think about. I don't want and need a fucking Matthew Stafford to be here to be the fucking Jets, to be in a fucking situation where we're 3-5 and wondering. And yes, it's great that Matthew Stafford can play football, but we're bereft of talent, so he's getting beat up and he gets injured and all that with his injury history. I don't want to do that. We're not in that position. Everyone talks about us being built. What do we build? We have holes all over this team. We're not a championship caliber team. Championship caliber teams do that. If we were the Atlanta Falcons and we knew our defense was good and we knew our offensive line was good and we knew we had good receivers, but the only thing really holding us back from being an exceptional team was a quarterback in Desmond Ridder, then yes, I go and get him, because that's what you do. That's what they went and did. And then they decided, you know what? We have a chance to get Michael Penix so we can continue this longevity of being a good, sustainable football team, because we drafted resources at the position. No, not Joe Shane. I let my best quarterback walk to the Jets for a few $1 million. I brought in a fucking booty ass guy in Drew Lock, who's not that good, who I could have had Jameis Winston for probably far less. Right? Or another one of these guys, Gardner Minshew. We didn't want to get that guy. Oh my God. And then we have Tommy Cutlets over here, who has done nothing in this draft. He's a UDFA. So what resources have we put into this team? And now people are like, oh, well, I don't like the quarterbacks. They're not good this year. Too fucking bad. Okay? That was your bed. You lie in it. Get the fuck out of here. Okay? If you have to draft Nussmeier at fucking 9, 10, 3, I don't give a fuck. Well, what if we get him in the second round? Okay, and I could say, what if I turn fully white? That's not going to happen. You don't know what the probabilities are of the second round. What if there's another team thinking? I'm just saying, look at the probabilities of you and the rest of the NFL, right? Somebody else could be sitting there like this. I wonder if I can get Nussmeier in the second round. And they might make you look at Bo Nix last year, right? Bo Nix had a second round grade amongst most people. They said he was a fringe first rounder. You know what Denver did? Denver didn't have a second round pick. So they were not like, oh, let me trade back and do funky shit, try to get an extra pick. They were like, fuck it, I'm going to pick him right now, and the rest will be history. Well, guess what? They got their fucking guy, and here we are. We're sitting here fucking with our hands up our fucking asses because we don't want to start Drew Lock, because God forbid he wins and we get out of draft position. We want to do what Rennie said, is said, don't bench Daniel Jones. I agree. He gives us the best chance to lose. So I'd love to keep him out there, because our draft stock is probably going to stay high the longer Daniel Jones is the quarterback. But that's all I have to say about that. We can go preview some games, because I'm fucking done with this fucking team.
Yeah, let's and since we already here, we can get these guys over with and done. New York Giants hosting the Washington Commanders on Sunday in the 1 o'clock window, man. This is not week 2, Jaden Daniels playing only his second NFL game. This is now prime Jaden Daniels, who is playing like football, like a grown-ass man, coming to town, coming to MetLife Stadium, and looking to prove that his Washington Commanders team is absolutely everything that people are hyping him up to be right now, man. How you see this one playing out, Adam?
I see a beat down by the Commanders. I just think they're, And Nometz is like, watch we win. You could, but to me, the Giants. The reason why I don't see the wins is Daniel Jones hasn't scored a touchdown at home since I don't know, since I was 38. I don't know how long it's been. I'm 40. It's like 2 years since he scored a fucking touchdown at MetLife Stadium. Okay. Secondly, he's played even worse at home than he has on the road. All right. And secondly, when I tell you about styles make fights, guess what they don't need to do? They don't have to pass the ball immensely. This run defense is atrocious the last 2 games. Okay. You are going to get a heavy dose of Eckler and Brian Robinson on the defensive side. They're just going to let it rip. They're going to bring pressure. They're going to try to, navigate to you. And the thing is this, they put up 326 yards of offense, 481 yards of offense against a good defense. The Giants' defense, while statistically in certain categories is good, is not very good. They're only good in the red zone, and they're good at sacking and occasionally getting teams off the field on third down. Okay? They don't turn the ball over much. They can't stop a run to save their life. You know what I mean? And so here we are. And now the Commanders, like you said, are looking to win because somebody brought it up in a space we were talking about. This guy, I think his name was Razul. Let me give him credit where credit's due. He said, if the Commanders don't beat the Giants, they're not winning the division. And I'm like, you know what? He's possibly right. Because if they don't beat the Giants, and let's say the Eagles do, and the Eagles get to 5-1 or 4-2, and the Commanders are 3-3 because they didn't beat the Giants, they're going to come back and say, we didn't beat the Giants. So I think they're going to be fully invested in this game, knowing that the division is on the line, meaning that they've only played one division game so far. The Giants have played 3 division games so far, and they need to catch up with everybody else to stay alive in this division because with the Eagles nipping at the heels, and the Eagles, we'll get into their team in a minute, they have a chance to win their game. You're looking across the way. If the Eagles, who play the Jaguars, win their game and you lose, guess who's in first place? So this is a big game for the Commanders, and I think the humbling experience. I know Dan Quinn's going to have this team ready. Bobby Wagner's going to have that defense ready. Jaden Daniels going to have that fucking offense ready, and I think it could be a close game. But I don't think with what's going on with the Giants and the drama and the turmoil and everything happening, I just don't see this team winning right now at this juncture.
Yeah, Tyrone Tracy looks like he's gonna be I don't know. We'll see what happens, but he's yet to practice this week. Still in protocol. Fortunately, after the big game Monday night, he went down with the concussion late in the game, and I just don't know. I mean, going back to Devin Singletary, Singletary's a vet and everything, all that good stuff. But you see with the energy Tyrone Tracy gives to this offense, the way he runs, this offense will be missing a bit without him in the lineup if he's not able to go. And but I'm gonna go here to my guy, man. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets, man. Because whatever it is, for whatever reason, I mean, if Daniel Jones ain't did nothing right for 6 years of his career, the one thing he's done right is he always seems to just play well against this Washington Commander football team. Whatever reason, it's just like, if you remember back in Eli's career, how horrible he would play against the Minnesota Vikings whenever we had to play the Vikings. It was like that uniform was his kryptonite. For whatever reason, Eli had some of his worst career games against the Minnesota Vikings. Well, it's like the opposite with Daniel Jones. It's just something about the Washington team that
the Crimson Red
brings the best out of Daniel Jones for some reason. Yeah, I mean, we usually tend to get good Daniel Jones when we're playing against the Washington Commanders. And I kind of think it may happen again this Sunday. I mean, they like you said, they've been atrocious at home all season. No, Daniel Jones hasn't contributed to a touchdown at home this season. No passing touchdown. He hasn't ran one in and nothing all season at home. But I just got this weird feeling, man. And as much as I do agree with Y2 Rennie up here earlier when he said we ain't got no business winning games, protect that draft position. I just see this being one of those games where the New York Giants they're just going to end up getting it done because it's a history. I know what they say. It doesn't mean you shouldn't, but it does kind of mean a little something. And they just play well Daniel Jones plays well against this football team. I mean, even go back to the week 2 matchup. We didn't lose that game for any reason because of Daniel Jones. There wasn't no reason that he had no he did what he had to do in that football game for the New York Giants to win that football game. And it's just unfortunate. And it's just I just think this. I mean, it's just that I just for some reason I just don't get it. With him with Daniel Jones, he plays well against his team. I think that continues this Sunday, man. I think. And I mean, we know we talked about what Jaden Daniels does and provides for that Washington Commander offense, and that's all. He doesn't play defense, and then Daniel Jones seems to have a way of navigating this offense through the Washington Commander defense, man. So I think the New York Giants do mess around and get a little fluke, a little close win on Sunday against this Washington Commander team. I know you probably like, what the hell is wrong with you, Mac?
I'm speechless because but listen, it's your take. I'm not gonna challenge it. I mean, I'm sure the Giants can. I will say I think the energy has changed a little bit after that loss to the Commanders in week 2, because I think that was the best shot for the Giants to win. And I think that team knows. I mean, Dan Quinn's going to have this team ready. It's not Ron Rivera, and I get what you're saying, but what I've seen out of Daniel, and if he gets a 3 and out and the Bluebirds come out, it might be tough to overcome mentally. So we'll see. I hope they don't win, because I don't need to see them win, because that'll just give more fuel to the fire to keep those dumbass guys.
But and I'll just add one more thought to this also, because we watched the game on Sunday, Washington and Chicago, and Jaden Daniels ain't 100%. He's not 100%, no matter what. I mean, he's tough. He's a tough kid too. But
still threw for 326 yards.
He did, and he absolutely did. But I'm saying, if this New York Giant pass rush, which has been been the saving grace of this defense this season, if that pass rush does get to him and can apply and get that pressure on him, I mean, dare I say, could potentially knock him out the game. I mean, I'm not saying I want to see that happen by any means. I'm just saying that's also kind of.
And then we get beat by Marcus Mariota
this football game. So we'll see. I mean, I'll be up there in the parking lot on Sunday. I'm not going in the game. I can't do it. I can't pay money for that product.
You guys enjoy that. As much as it was fun meeting you last year in the rain, this year I'm going to not be there. One, because I'm not investing time and money into a team that's this crappy. We were the same record last time we played the Jets. I'm just not going to make that trip. If they're a winning team, and plus I think I have a few things going on Sunday anyway, so I can't. I got to be a dad, so sometimes. So it is what it is. Enjoy that game. You can make some tailgates, eat some food, get miserably drunk because you're
get some better weather this year.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Better weather to watch the beatdown.
We will see. Dallas Cowboys, Atlanta Falcons, man. Dallas going down to Atlanta. First place Atlanta Falcons right now, all by themselves in the NFC South Division. Playing pretty good football, man. I'm liking what we're getting out of Kyle Pitts. This season finally has a decent quarterback, and we're seeing, some of the reasons why Kyle Pitts was the high draft pick that he was, man. It's finally all starting to come together down there. Dallas Cowboys, we were talking about, this team has been reeling, man. How you see this one playing out, Adam?
The Cowboys are going to get their cheeks clapped in this game. I don't think they match up well with the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons are a scrappy team. They're a team that is trying to pull away in that South, and they're trying to be a legit Super Bowl. Let's be honest. Somebody said the other day, they didn't bring Kirk Cousins in to win a Super Bowl. No, they brought Kirk Cousins in to win a Super Bowl. That's what they brought him and paid that $100 million for. And I think the Cowboys, can't stop the run. They have one of the best running backs in the game in Bijan Robinson, not to mention, the other guy, I forget what the backup's name is, Aguilar or something like that. He's also good. Kyle Pitts is a seam buster, and then Drake London's playing well. Not to mention Captain Kirk having a good season. So overall, I think this is a tough game for the Cowboys. I think they had a better matchup with the 49ers in terms of how their personnel matches up, but this game is going to be out of reach probably early. I would say the Cowboys are going to keep it close for about a half, and then I think you're going to see the Atlanta Falcons just impose their will.
Yeah, I'm tending to agree with everything you just said. This Dallas Cowboy team, they're gonna have to make me a believer again. Because right now, with everything I'm seeing, I just can't. I can't put faith in any stock in this football team right now. And Atlanta Falcons are just playing too damn good right now. I mean, they're running the ball well, hitting you with the 1-2 punch of Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algiers, and Kirk Cousins is
Algier.
finding those receivers, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. I mean,
Mooney is having a great
he's
year.
making plays. And then defensively, this Atlanta Falcons team defensively is holding up, and they're making making big plays when it matters most in games, man. So for that reason, I got to go with the Atlanta Falcons at home too. I just can't. I just don't think from what we've seen from the Dallas Cowboys, they're going to go down. They can go down to Atlanta right now and beat this football team. I just don't. I just can't. I can't see that happening right now. I was with you last week on that train. I thought they were going to go out there and catch a vulnerable 49ers team, and they weren't able to take advantage of that situation either. And I just see Atlanta right now. I think Atlanta. I think Atlanta could potentially do some similar things to this football team that New Orleans did back in week 2. I think that was. But yeah, so yeah, I like the Atlanta Falcons here, and that's really all I got to say about that.
Yep.
And then there's one more in the 4 o'clock window on Sunday. I wonder why they playing at 4 o'clock. But in Philly, the Eagles hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars up in Philly, man. Yeah, we talked about this Eagle team earlier and how things seem to be coming together for them, and I think that's going to continue here against this lowly Jacksonville team sitting at 2-6. I just think Jacksonville does not have enough offense to keep up with this Philadelphia Eagle team. Not enough firepower, and I think the Eagles ultimately pull this one out, man. Even though Eagles do tend to sometimes play a bit down to some of their opponents sometimes when they're playing teams like this, but I think they handle their business and take care of the Jacksonville Jaguars at home and try to keep pace with the Washington Commanders.
And I agree with you. And that's why I think both teams, while they have quote unquote a trap game in front of them, I think they both know the magnitude of this game, of their games, right? You know, at some point, these two teams are going to meet and it's going to be decided on the field. But to get there, you want the best record possible. So in case, for whatever reason, the Commanders slip up, you'll be able to take that throne. And I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to dismantle the Jaguars. I know Doug Peterson is going to be a little juice for this game. You know, there's a little bit of energy because he's coming back to his old team's building and everything like that. But I think Nick Sirianni is also knows, like, hey, I replaced you, and I'm going to show you why. And they're playing good football, and I think they see the path in front of them. You know how we talk about keys to victory? Well, there's keys to getting to a division title and the playoffs, and that's beat the lowly teams on your schedule while you have them on your schedule, because those games you can't get back, and those could be we talk about deciding factors down the road. Well, yes, the Giants are a divisional game, so it counts double for the Commanders. You don't want to be that team that doesn't make the playoffs or loses the division because you overlooked the Jaguars and you both have the same division record and they went with a conference record or whatever the case may be, right? And that could be the case for the Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think the Eagles understand what needs to be done. I think they're going to go out and have a good game, and I think at the end of the game, when 7:05 hits and their game is over, they're going to be victorious.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Good stuff, man. Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. Who thought it? The Washington Commanders fighting, trying to hang on, trying to lead the NFCs right now, trying to actually win this thing, man. They're looking like they can. They got the stuff to do it, man.
They win on
It's
Sunday. It's
gonna
a good
look like it's
start.
gonna looking like yeah, looking like it's gonna come down to them and the Eagles now. Now, like I said, who the hell? And they play. I mean, and they don't. I wish they played each other the last game of the season.
Yes,
How
that would
big
be
could that game
awesome.
have been if they played each other? if they played each other the last game of the season. But that's
Can
not
we
the way
can
the
we switch?
NFL gods
Can we
drew it
switch?
up.
Can we switch the Thanksgiving? Can we switch the Thanksgiving game to the Giants of Philadelphia, and then have the Philadelphia, and then play the Cowboys in the last game of the year, and they can play the Commanders at the end of the year. That's what we should do. We should be able to do that.
Absolutely. What's going on, Mosey? Thanks for pulling up, man. We about to get up out of here, though, man. Definitely appreciate you pulling up, though. But everybody, man, we are about to, close the door on another episode of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. Appreciate you all tuning in, keeping the
We had
chat popping,
23
man.
people in here at one point. Crazy.
Yes, indeedy, man. We appreciate the support, appreciate the love. Make sure y'all go to my guy Adam Costas channel, man. Hit that thumbs up, man. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and come back to my channel here, Mac the Giants fan, and do the same thing. Hit that thumbs up for me, and hit that subscribe button and help our channels continue to grow, man. We really, really appreciate all the support, man, all the love, man. My guy, Philly B, dropping the links, man. So definitely appreciate you guys, man. Pulling up, tuning in, man.
Thank you so much.
And we will see y'all. Yeah, appreciate it. We'll see y'all again next Wednesday, same time, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Mac the Giants fan. This is my guy, Adam Costas, the super dope co-host.
See you later.
I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment and let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants fan. That's MacDa Giants fan.